So today what we will be doing is focusing quite a bit on GRI and as well as some of the questions I've got for you on GRI. I would also want to find out from anyone here if they found anything more interesting, anything that they've done in your research about Dream Park, about Disney, anything that you have found so that we can discuss. Anyone else? So Arun, anything that you found, anything extra that you found that you want to discuss? Walid, anything from you? You guys are being awfully silent today. Vinod, anything from you? No, Arun, I cannot hear you. One second. Right, well, it says not anything new. I want to go from top and find out, starting from Arun, to understand if there are any questions, anything that you have in mind that you would like me to explain before we go further into our class. So I'm going to start with Arun to find out, have you got anything that you want to ask, any more explanations? Because today is effectively our last class. Arun, anything from you? I think we have a problem in trying to hear Arun, so I'm going to go to Kausa. Kausa, anything from you? Yep. Go on. Okay, Arun says he's going to send the question. Kausa, what about you? Kausa, anything from you? Well, I can't hear you, so if you are not able to talk, you need to type it. Kimani, anything from you? Rokhan? So next is Salahuddin. What about you? Salahuddin, can you hear me? So can you hear me, Salahuddin?
Yes.
Right, okay. So is there anything, Salahuddin, because I was a bit getting worried there, seeing if you guys can hear me or whether there's some problem that I can't hear you guys, because everyone's been quite silent today.
Okay.
To know whether it's nervousness because the exams are coming up or it's studying too much. Well,
No. Actually, what my question is there any one more model we should use for each answer, or we can use only one model?
No, you can use any number of models that you want, but it has to be appropriate, right?
Okay.
And when you're answering a question with a model, you can bring it in quite subtly, right?
Okay. Okay. See,
Example.
I have mailed you one question. You remember, you said me to find out the real life situation. If any chance I am unable to write any real life situation, marks will be given, or
No, no. The thing is, let's be creative here a bit, okay? And let's say you're talking about a labor unrest, right? So let's talk about something that they're talking. The question is on labor unrest, right?
okay.
And then you can state clearly that well, in a situation like this, you need to find out who are the key players, right? In a when there is a labor unrest, because the organization needs to find out who they should talk to in the first place, right? So there are multiple different people that you need to have discussions with in order to negotiate, right? Because it's not only your current employees or unions, but there's public relations and the newspapers, social media, all these things are there, right? So you can mention quite nicely. You will be you could look at who your key players are by bringing in the Mandela's matrix, and you will look at that quadrant of the key players,
Okay.
right? And also people who are very interested in you but have low power, right?
Okay. Okay.
Because if all of them get together, somehow they can become a key player as well. So it's important for you to find out. Now, if you want to bring in a live kind of a real life story, you could say a similar thing happened in from wherever that you come from, right? In one of my previous companies that I worked for, or this XYZ company in the country that you're in, right?
That's what I want to know, because maybe I thought the international companies we should write, or I.
No, not necessary. So that's a very good question, Saladin, that you asked.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you don't have to talk about a Disney or another international company. The examiner is looking for whether you can relate it to a real life. He or she is looking at, well, you have, in this case, you actually related to, let's say you come from Bangladesh, right? I know some of the Bangladeshi students are here as well. So let's say you come from there, and then you say, well, in this situation in Bangladesh, we had a similar situation, and at that time, this company, or if you have gone through that experience, right? Or you could say, well, these are some of the key steps that were taken, right? They identified the who the person, who the key players are, and did a communication, right?
Okay. Okay. Fine, ma'am. Actually, I'm from India.
Right. I think another one, you guys said, one of your film stars you mentioned, they said, can't remember the name, said, he made a blunder by stating, making a comment, and it went really badly against him, and he was taken out of, he was part of this other company, like he was
Yeah, yeah.
already attached to a particular company, and the company dropped him, right?
Yes, yes. Anyway, thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Swati, anything from you? Right, so Arun has asked, the other day when we discussed the closing of the Far East Dream Park due to issues beyond our control due to one project selection, how do we structure the answer? How do we structure the answer? Right, good one. If we see the answer published by CIMA for the past exam, they are never mentioning about models. Is that to deceive the students? That's a good one. Is that to deceive the students? Not really. Swati, no, sorry, I can't hear you, Swati. Maybe you'll have to type your question. Now, what we can do is structure the answer for this dream park, a theme park in the Far East or somewhere else closing down, right? If they close down, how are we going to approach it, right? How to structure this. Okay, Swati is saying, yeah, I have the same question as asked by them, how to structure the answer, right? That means, okay, so when it comes to going into a project, we know how to structure the answer, right? But closing down a project, how would we structure the answer? That is a big question here, right? And could be typed for a task. Okay, Kavsa is asking how many words? Well, how many words? It depends how fast you can type, right? But it's important to cover certain topics. You can't be talking about one point for 30 minutes, right? So one of the things that you guys need to do is look at structuring this answer. So I want to work with someone on this. So anybody who can talk to me, who's able to have a conversation. Arun, are you able to talk to me? I think Arun is having a problem. Tarun, are you available to talk?
Yes, I can. Hi,
Brilliant.
sorry, I got,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, brilliant.
I came in
Yeah,
late,
otherwise,
yeah.
otherwise I feel very lonely talking to myself here.
No, I have some other points as well. So
Oh,
when we finish
brilliant.
this, yeah, we can go through those.
Yeah, sure. Right. Now, Tarun, in this case, we're planning on closing a park. What do you think? How do you think we will approach it?
Okay, so if this was a scenario in the case study, I would approach it same way as doing a new investment, like looking from suitability, acceptability, and feasibility, and doing the impact of closure, on various stakeholders and on the
Yes.
company as well. Just broadly. So basically, we have invested a lot of capital, so that will have an impact on financials, obviously, and on market as well, the market in terms of
Yes.
share price, how the stakeholders will view this, like why we are taking such a aggressive stand, as in to
Yeah.
close down. Have we considered other alternatives? So all those things, risks, what are the risks, and whether all those risks can be mitigated by something.
Right. So,
Yeah.
what you mentioned is suitability, acceptability, feasibility, plus sustainability. That model you're going to be using. You're also using a stakeholder, right? Stakeholder analysis, right? Mandela's matrix.
Yep.
You may also want to look at the sunk cost perspective, right? You have invested a lot of money, true, but now we are looking at the operations perspective as well, right? So what you're looking at is from an operational point of view, you are not making a return. So this is your biggest problem, isn't it? So here there is a little bit of a, I need to think of the operational plus sunk cost perspective, right?
Okay.
That needs to come through as well, because when you are looking at evaluating whether to close up something, right? Your sunk cost will not come into the picture because it's gone at that point. However, your problem will lie with your shareholders, right? Because you need, basically, they'll turn around to you and tell you, well, you've not been a good steward here. You've not actually looked after our money well.
Yeah.
Right? So that is another problem that you will have to face. Right? So one of your stakeholders might be, of course, key one would be your shareholders. plus the government of that particular country will also play a predominant role, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And the employees, if we have
Of
already
course,
hired employees, so impact
correct.
of, on those employees as well.
Yes, yes. So I remember one time when I was doing the exam many years ago, there was a question similar to this, not in a case study per se. It was a short question, but this is where you will have when you're it's like you have two IRRs, right? Because this is one point where you have it crosses the line twice, right? One at the point, like when you're starting a project, you have the same thing, and when you're closing a project, you have a same thing. Somewhat similar to a nuclear plant or oil and gas as well. When you start the project, you have one IRR. Then when you're closing as well, because there are closure costs associated. The main reason is you have closure cost associated with it, right? A lot of cost associated with it. So you need to be able to see whether that cost you can actually bear the cost associated with it, right?
Yeah.
Any other points, Tarun, with regards to closure? I think I've got some chats as well. Anything else?
Closure, I think it's very aggressive step, right? So maybe there will be more information in the case study if such example comes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to look at like alternative uses as well, before taking such stance. So can we partner with someone else? Can we use it for something else? Maybe
Yes.
can we get some money out, or it's completely gone, or can we
Correct.
delay it? Can we put on hold rather than just shelving then the whole project?
Which
So
happened even here, right, in the Middle East. So we didn't, and so that's a good example as well. We're saying, okay, this started prior to, we started this project, but then they held on, right? They didn't close it. They held on because economy is cyclical in nature. It will come back.
yeah,
So all partners would have agreed to hold on till it comes to a suitable position, the economy, and then start off.
yeah.
Right.
And what's the reason of closing down? Is the project is not feasible, or is the government regulations coming in place, or simply there's no demand, or
Yes.
is the natural disaster? So we need to look
Correct.
at everything. So yeah, it's difficult to generate ideas just on
Yes.
one standalone basis.
Yeah. So here the question, because the reason I posed the question was because, I mean, you guys have been thinking about it, which is good, and there was some questions on it, is also good because what you're saying is, well, I know how to start a project, but I don't know how to end the project, and how am I going to structure it, right? That was the thing. The root causes, you're absolutely right. The root causes may be many, right? It could be many. It could be natural disasters and so on, government, some other different political thing happening, and where entertainment is not allowed in the country. We can face a situation like that too these days, right? So then you need to close it. You have nothing to do but close it. There are certain circumstances. So the situation can be, various situations can arise, but the process of closure would be the same, right? That doesn't change.
Anju, I have one question there. This
Sure.
change management will come into here?
Yes, it will come into this because, we are closing something if we are going to, but, so we'll have to manage our employees particularly, right? Um, the way you manage, it could be chaos or it could be quite calm. Either way, right? If you just don't care about your employees and say, right, okay, we're going to close it, we're going to close, these are the things that's going to happen. We can take a very clinical approach, but it's not ethical, right? And it could create a lot of chaos in the economy in that particular county, right? And it may have detrimental effects, right? However, similarly, if we act as a good corporate citizen, we are able to train the staff, maybe move the staff, relocate the staff, whoever is willing to relocate, we can help them to relocate to other plants as well, right? Other parks. So that kind of arrangement can be done, right? We don't need to just ignore our staff. Yes, somebody's saying would affect reputational image. Carol, pyramid of CSR, correct?
Arun here.
Mentioned there are some other questions you want to ask me.
Yes. First thing means now something strikes me. Like while answering a question, do we need to keep in mind, are we handling all the quadrants, as in the people skill, leadership skill, business, and technical? Do we keep in mind on back of our mind, or just we do it
We
anyhow?
need to. We need to. Okay. So let me share something with you. Because it is important. However, you may need not have all 4 in your answer, because you must put the most appropriate ones, right? So
Yeah.
just for the sake of putting something, you don't need to put it there, right?
Yeah, I saw the marking guidance, right? So like
Right.
normally the first question is more on business and technical,
Yeah.
and second is on leadership and people, and third is like combination. So they don't ask you everything in one part.
Correct.
But maybe I don't know, maybe I'll miss something which is is not so obvious.
Right. Okay. 1 second, please.
And you able to, Anju, Arun here.
Yes, Aaron.
Yeah, one more thing is when you go into and see the CIMA's answers, it
Yeah.
is not really structured. It's just paragraphs that they put in, without.
Yes.
It's just maybe just I do agree. It's just a guidance, but because if it comes from the institute, you tend okay. There will be some pattern how you write the answers, but it's pretty misleading.
Yeah, in the sense it's always been like that from the time I've studied as well.
Okay.
It's kind of it's quite high level. I agree with you, right? It's high
Yeah.
level. It's kind of a guidance. It's not that that's the model answer kind of thing, right?
Mm.
So yeah, it may mislead a little bit, but it gives you at a high level kind of this is what you should be covering, these are the areas you should be covering. But I think if you're trying to think, okay, this is the perfect kind of answer, it
No,
may not
that's
be
their
that.
first sentence till they give a disclaimer, That-
Yes.
yeah.
So that says it all, right?
Yeah. But as a student, you generally tend to okay, there will be some specific pattern that you can stick to, or write an exam. Okay. Just in between these discussions, Tarun was saying that you bring in the SAF and you bring in the Mendelos, but and then the other points, sunk cost, operations. You is will there be a core? You'll have to correlate all these points together, or you just put in like okay, sunk cost, and you write a couple of sentences
So
on it.
So the
Just
thing
to
is, you do get marks for integration as well, right? So basically, by using the models, the best thing that you're getting out of it is that being able to structure your answer, right? To ensure that you will not forget certain key points.
Hmm.
That's what. So I mean, imagine if I don't have the surface model, I'm writing merrily on some
Yeah.
stakeholders. I've forgotten about the financial aspect, and once the 1 hour goes, I remember, oh, geez, I have never written about the finance aspect of it.
Right.
But
Right.
had you put those kind of headings there and said, right, now these are the things that I need to put in, and then go on immediately writing it, you will not forget. It's there.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it, because you will it's there and you will not miss it,
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
right?
Got it. Got it. Just you were asking some other a bit of research I had done on this thing, Disneyland. There was in 2015 there was a measles breakout in California, and
Right.
how they tackle that. Maybe now in the current scenario, maybe Ebola or something would help us.
Yes.
So yeah, what they did basically was this. I think Disney was situated in a place some called Orange County.
Yes.
Okay, so they tied up with their with that once the health authority there, and they said that these are the steps, because a couple of people working in Disneyland also were diagnosed with measles virus. So then
Okay.
they put forward publications and communications that how measles can be prevented, and also one minute, crisis communication experts.
So basically what you're saying is some sickness happens,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Something.
yeah.
And again, a very common thing, because I'm getting a lots of people coming to the
Yeah,
parkland,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And suddenly, I mean, tell me, something's happening now in South America. What's that?
In South America, Ebola. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right. We had
yeah.
SARS some time
SARS.
back,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Remember?
That's right. Yeah.
So something like that, how would you try to contain or manage it within your park? This is going to impact, right? Heavily. It's going to impact heavily.
Hmm.
Issue like that, how would you
Yeah.
manage?
And then there was a
Any
yeah.
ideas?
What Disney did was, there was a lot of rumors stating that Disney was responsible for this measles, because many people started to come up from, because they come from all parts of the world. So first thing
Yes.
Disney did was they started emphasizing through various channels that they were not responsible for this measles, and then they started to interact with the county, and then they came up with measures how to tackle measles, and so they were on and on insisting that Disney was not responsible, but the local population were always blaming, that Disney was insisting. So this was the main
So
bit
how
of
did
their
they manage that? How
yeah,
did they manage that?
they went. They had a tie-up with that local government health organization, and they
Yes.
started awareness campaigns throughout that Orange County how to tackle this measles, and
Yes.
how it could be prevented.
Right.
That was the
Right.
main.
But in the park, did they do anything? Did they have medical staff to check, if people are sick or something like that?
No, unfortunately, it was not on an official website from Disney, because none of these negative issues are there on any of their articles.
Right. Right.
It's
However,
also in
this
the
is a very
blogs
good
and all that you
point.
get through these things.
Yes. Yes. So, anyone else who can tell how we can manage a situation like this? How we will manage it? It is a risk, by the way.
Yeah. And
Any
one
ideas?
and Disney funded a bit of programs in the Orange County to tackle the measles also. But then
Right.
I don't know. I went through a blog, so it backfired on them, stating that they were held responsible, that it was they're trying to cover up. But generally, what they did, they funded some of the programs to prevent measles. Then they started out an awareness campaign of how to not catch measles, or not to those things. And yeah, basically these were the things that they were trying to do. That's
Right. So they were educating the public.
yeah, that's
Right.
right.
That's the
Yeah,
kind of thing that they tied up with the government authorities or the kind of the NHS, and they also carried out awareness campaigns.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But there is something else I remember during SARS. Okay. During that time, because I was visiting Maldives. Now imagine Maldives
Wear
is
mask.
is a place where people come in. It's holiday, right? It's tourists. Now, if a SARS breakout, if it takes place, it's a massive hit for the whole economy because they
That's right.
survive on tourism,
Tourism. Yeah,
right? So what they did was, when you coming into the country, before you get through immigration, they check you. All right, they check your
mm,
temperature, they check, there are certain tests that you carry out,
okay,
right?
okay.
They, before they could enter you, before they take you in to immigration,
Mm,
right? So
okay.
that is one activity that they did. Now, if these guys are aware, if our dream park is situated, I mean, faces a situation like this, so this means we always have to be quite vigilant and stay in touch with our local kind of the NHS, right? Our
Yeah, yeah,
hospitals,
yeah.
we should have a close tie up and see, what's going on, right?
Mm, mm.
There sorry to interrupt, there are machines also, they're scanning machine, like they're
Ah,
checking
yeah.
the heat, they install at
That
airports,
was
that they can
those that
install.
were installed
Yeah,
here in Dubai.
yeah, in Dubai
Yeah,
also, so they are checking your temperature, this for especially for Ebola and other, when if there is
yeah,
the heat in the body is up, they can this machines can detect. So we can
yeah,
install that machines in the dream park also,
yeah.
on the entrance. So it's one kind of precaution that that these people may be suffering from such diseases.
So you can see this could also lead to a kind of a major situation, right? Because it
Mm,
can
yeah,
shut down our parks. And
Yeah,
in one of
yeah.
the things where it says, shutting down the park may cost 100,000 per day. So that's a huge amount of money, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just the direct cost alone is 100,000,
Mm,
right?
mm, mm.
So you have to think of that as well to say, if there is a health hazard, how are we
Mm.
going to manage it?
One important point that they did mention in this was that that the Disney medical was not allowed to do any treatment or tests.
Right.
Yeah, so that maybe we shouldn't be mentioning those in our answers. That yeah, Disney could use it because I think it was more of a epidemic type of a disease. So only the government was responsible to carry out those activities.
Yes, yes, for sure. Because you need to have. So what they will have to do is they tie up with the the government or the local
Mm.
local government hospitals, right? So you have to have qualified people who are there who would manage it. You
Mm.
can't have your own people working. Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's one of the key things. I mean, you could have people who are managing and reporting on the machines, like I think Zaid said, right? You can install those machines, you can see what's going on, but then you can't treat a person or take the person out and treat the person as a patient if you're not a doctor.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Any other questions, Tarun? Any other questions?
Yes. So,
Yeah.
there was an ask and tutor, ask an expert session in CIMA. I think it was yesterday or today. So,
Right.
the tutor, I mean, somebody asked like, what are the potential variants?
Right.
So, as per him, there are 4 or 5. So I'm just
Yes.
trying to, list it out for the group,
Yeah.
and maybe we can, discuss and brainstorm
Yeah.
on
Sure.
those. So
Yeah.
the first one was delays in Far East because it's supposed to open next year. So if there
Mm-hmm.
are delays, possibly delay in receiving the machinery rides or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
setup approvals. So that could be potential variant.
Mm-hmm.
Accident on a ride, you
Yeah.
know, merger with Happy Word, which is very obvious because
Yeah.
so much of information is given about Happy World. Mistreatment of dolphins, and yeah, big data in theme park, maybe that. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. So, and big data. Okay. Delays in Far East. Interesting. Now, what would you do with the delays in Far East? What are the impacts? How would you manage that if there is a delay in the Far East? What is going to impact?
Impact, like if you look at all the stakeholder customers, obviously they are expecting there is a huge, it's mentioned there is a huge excitement about opening of this park. And they have received various queries and all the stuff.
So if I'm
that's
taking,
customer-
sorry,
Yeah.
Tarun, if I'm
Yeah.
taking the stakeholder analysis in this particular situation,
Mhm.
who is most impacted?
Obviously, I think shareholders, no?
Yes, yeah, because they're the guys. I mean, imagine your situation. You put 100 million, 200 million into this, right? As an investor, a corporate investor, you're supposed to start getting returns from, let's say, year 4, and suddenly it's year 7, right? So, well, your returns
Actually, I
are
think, Anju, I think the main problem will be for the stakeholders in the sense that obviously, since in the levered, I think to get tax benefit, they might have been taking loans. Okay, the loan season has a payback period, and it depends on the cash flows of the company.
correct.
So on that basis, if the cash flow is not there, automatically the repayment will be a very big problem. So the funds
Correct.
have to be taken from the current dream parks which are already in progress, which will have a cash problem then. So automatically, without the return, one is that the cash flow is a problem, and the interest automatically they have to go on paying, and as the principal is not being repaid, the interest will much be longer, much be higher, which will have an effect in the profitability. And also without the revenues, automatically the profit will be lower, which will have an effect in the share price. And it's not a closely held company. It's equity. It's already in the share market listed. So it will
Correct.
have an effect in the share price. So
Yeah.
automatically, it's
Yeah. So what you mentioned is actually a couple of points there saying, well, the shareholders, because of XYZ reason, and then the impact on the share price as well, right? Anyone else, who else will be impacted with this? Who is another stakeholder? Anybody else?
Suppliers.
supply. Yeah, correct. The suppliers.
Suppliers, who else?
Employees.
Sorry, can't hear you. Akram, who else?
Suppliers will be high.
Employees.
Yeah, carry on.
Employees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they were supposed to join at a particular time, but they will be delayed. And the stakeholders, that is our other customers, they were planning to enjoy the park at a particular
Right.
date, but
Yeah.
they're depriving from that.
The government as well, I would say, because the government
Exactly.
is very happily waiting to take some tax, as well
Exactly.
as they're expecting things to take place, as in employment. They're expecting this employment to kickstart as well. Now that's delaying, which is causing a problem as well, right? And
Yeah.
you may have other hotels would have started, right,
Yeah.
to support this. Now those hotels, well, what's going to happen? People are not just coming there. One of the main reasons for people to come there is the theme park. Now the theme park is not opened, right? Now that's a bit of a problem.
Exactly. Food chains and hotel chains, they are also affected.
Correct. So now that is an issue, as well as now Dream Park would have got loans from the banks as well. So the bank is expecting the payments to kickstart as well, because they're expecting these guys to start earning money. Now that's delayed. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, moratorium period might be on before even started. Moratorium period might
Mm-hmm.
have finished.
Right.
So owners may have to start paying before even finishing.
Right. Yeah. So Tarun, from you, any other points that you think should be brought? Now we spoke about the stakeholders at great length.
Yeah. So
Any
stakeholders, yes, we're gonna obviously analyze the impact,
correct.
but
Yes.
but how do we gonna mitigate this? Like as in, like what are alternatives we could do? You know,
Right.
to
Okay.
avoid or
Now
minimize the
situation.
losses.
Yes. Situation is, guys. Well, we found out that was because of certain reasons, whatever it may be, machinery is not coming in. We have to delay the opening. Right? It's not going to happen now. The big supplier, he's supposed to, our only, main suppliers, they're the ones who's bringing the machinery in. They're not bringing in, there are 4 rides, key rides that's supposed to come in. The rides are not coming in. They are delayed. They're delayed not 6 months, but about 1.5 years, right? Now, this is a big situation for me, for the company. Tarun, like you said, how are we going to mitigate this issue? Now let's look at it clinically. What do we have here? We have the land, right? So we have the land. We also have people because we were planning on recruiting people and things like that. What else can we do to create or generate money now? Any views? Because all what we need to do is now, never mind the machinery, never mind the rides, I need to create money.
Can we organize like fairs like Global Village on a temporary structure and something like that, so that at least some revenue starts coming
So you
in?
can partner with some other parties, right? Because suddenly I have the area, it's going to be free for a period of time, right? So immediately what am I going to do is to start with partnering with other parties to see, can we partner? I will give you the land. I have people who are also in the entertainment business. So, people are trained in this trade, so to speak.
Soleil,
So,
Sunny, what is that? Soleil, I don't recollect that French name.
Cirque du Soleil, yes.
Yeah, maybe like that.
Exactly. Yeah, very good idea.
If you see, if the machinery is not there, other two of ours, the water park and the things we could still open, and we could maintain that revenue from those.
Correct.
Depending on which has a bottleneck, the others
Yes,
we could
exactly.
open up.
Yeah. Yeah. So exactly. So what we're seeing is we can't look at and say, oh well, we're gonna close the shop, we're gonna start late. But with what we have, how can we manage and generate revenue? Right? You have to be creative, very, very creative at this point and see immediately I'm gonna look at what is my SWOT as is. What is my position audit as is? Right? What do I have? What resources do I have right now? If I look at it in a very positive sense, I could see a lot of opportunities. At the same time, somebody can look at it in a very negative sense and see nothing. So it's how you look at a situation, right? And say, okay, wow, I have all these things. I'm sure I can make wonders with it because I have my people, right? I have got very talented people. They can work on this, right? I can work with maybe doing different acts, like one person mentioned, bring Cirque du Soleil, right? So there's not only one Cirque du Soleil in the world, there's many. So you can bring them in because they need also a big big venue, right? So here you go, you got the premises.
Yep. And you rightly said, I think looking at the past papers, you have to go in a positive frame of mind. So they are not like unlike other courses, they are looking to basically criticize. In this case, they are I think in most of the places, most of the previous case studies, they are looking to look at the positive sides, you know.
Yes.
I mean, highlight
Yeah.
the risks, obviously, but
Yes.
not like criticize, you know, from the beginning, or maybe this is not right, maybe this assumption is incorrect and all the stuff. So I think that's not the idea of this particular case study.
Yeah. Because the thing is, they are basically telling you, here's the cards that's given to you, deal with it. I want to see how you will deal with it.
Yeah.
Right? This is the hand that's given to you.
Yeah.
Pointless criticizing at that point. Oh, you know, I shouldn't have got a joker. I shouldn't have got this. I shouldn't have got that. Right? This is what's
Yeah.
given to you. Deal with it. Show me how you will deal with it. And you can see, I mean, this happens in real life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So you will see people with with all the qualification in the world not doing well, but you see people with average but doing extremely well, but because of their creativity and thinking outside the box. A lot of it is with partnering with people, and looking at what resources internally do I have, how can I leverage on that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, any other questions? So to your point, Tarun, you can see technical, business, people, and leadership, right? These are the areas that we need to ensure that we cover. Now, you shouldn't just, especially, and I know quite a few CAs are here, chartered accountants, they might be pretty good in their finance side of it and forget about the people, business, and the leadership side of it, right? And it is very natural to do so because you're not trained to write in that business, people, leadership, that space, right? You're all the time looking at the numbers and critiquing the numbers, but not looking at the non-financial factors. So now you have to force yourself to look into it. Yeah. When a question is asked on anything to do with numbers, NPV, whatever it is, you critique the number, critique the cash flow, what it is, but also look at the non-financial factors, right? Always there are certain models that's there you can use every time. You can, in the leadership side, you will see like the change management, right, theories, team working. Okay, we also looked at the stakeholder, right, ethics and CSR. So definitely there's ample opportunity for balanced scorecard, right? In most questions, like the aspects of balanced scorecard. So I'm not telling you to write, okay, what is a balanced scorecard? What are the quadrants? What are the KPIs? But certain aspects of it. Any other questions?
Okay. I know that's great. It's just if there was a scenario on dolphins, right? So we are not so technical about these mammals, how, what's the best environment for them and what could go wrong. So I
Yeah.
think that's a kind of bit of gray area. That's like subject
Okay.
matter. We are not expert in that subject matter, right? Generally,
Okay,
on a business
fine.
wise, I think we are okay. So maybe we can touch upon that.
Yeah, right. Where's this dolphin now? Okay. Mistreatment of dolphin. Okay. Now, if you look at, I don't care whether it's a dolphin or a dog or a cat or anything, right? Really, it doesn't matter. We don't have to bother about the animal itself. If you look at it, it's about somebody, right? A thing that's captive. You keep it captive. That's what it is, right? That's all what it is. Even if I take a human and put it into a cage and keep it, that's not right. I give this human everything that I think is required and put it in the cage. It's not right. You have to put it into its natural habitat. And that's what the people, the society today is talking about, right? Free these animals. The animals are not there for us, to kind of provide entertainment. Yes, this kind of concept was there before, right? From the 1960s, 70s, 80s as well, but then it moved away. And the concept is moving away. Now, we saw many articles with in some of the key theme parks, right, where they are saying that they're moving away from this. So what is happening is we are getting a good revenue stream from this product. Now, we shouldn't discount that. We are getting a good revenue stream. What's happening is we are gradually closing it, shrinking that revenue stream purposely, and coming up with a new revenue, new product, right? Or we need to replace that revenue with something else, right? Because that particular revenue is not sustainable. So if I look at it from a business angle, that's what's happening. Whether it's an animal or anything else, it doesn't matter, right? Where we have to close one revenue, open something else. Yeah. So in this case, what they're saying is they're bringing that ethical part of it, and they're saying, okay, mistreatment of dolphins, right?
Yeah. So should not we justify that we are not? There is no mistreatment happening. We have all the precautions, all the right environment, so to say, for dolphins.
So, Tarun, the thing is, how can we say we have the right environment? Because they are not in their natural habitat, is it? Isn't it? This is what the whole thing is. The concept is we can't take animals and put them into areas and like a zoo, right? We shouldn't do that. And this is where the animal rights activists, they're focusing on that, and they're saying you should not do it. It is bad because it's impacting the animal. It's like a human being. You put 2 or 3 human beings together, and you have to live with these 2 or 3 human beings the rest of your life. But you give them everything that is required: the food, shelter, everything. But you live with those 2 or 3 human beings. That's the same thing.
But are you suggesting then to straight away, for example, if animal rights organization, right, comes to us, put in a press that Dream Park is mistreating the dolphins, okay? So straight away, should we be suggesting to
mistreating the dolphins, maybe they would have. So it can happen in 2 ways, right? They could say, well, they have. Sorry, they could say that there's an article, or they found out there's one person or people, this team are mistreating the animals the way they handle the animals. That is an issue that the Dream Park has to take care of right then and there. There's no question about it. It's not a case of closing down that activity then, right? But that particular thing is mistreatment of the animal. They need to correct it right away, right? Investigate, find out if there was something like that, right? Is it true? If so, the repercussions. What should you be doing with that person or team of people who worked with the dolphin, right? And then what you can do is publicly acknowledge this is what happened, and in the future this is what we are going to do. Involve the these animal rights people as well, and say, okay, going forward we're involving one of these people or 2 of these people to work with this animal along with some other team members, so there is transparency, right? However, they could also go on to say that in the next 5 to 10 years, we do not see that this is an area that we will be actively working in, because that is where the industry is going. right? They're closing down all the animal parks, right? The theme parks. Is that clear?
Yeah, but which model we can use in this regard?
So again, I'm looking at Ansoff, right? Because a new same market, a new product I'm looking at as well, right? And divestment, correct? Then I'm also looking at my stakeholders again, right?
Okay.
Because there are some key stakeholders I need to act very promptly.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like Menlo matrix and SAFS model are the most common and could be applied.
SAF,
No, not in
I
this
don't
particular
know.
example, but generally, right? In most of the cases.
Yeah, because you will see Ansoff more because you're looking at now I'm divesting, bringing in a new product. So we need to think about that as well, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And somebody's asked, can you put some relevant article on animal captivity? Okay. In a Dropbox, right? I will do something. I will see what I can do there. Any other questions?
Another one thing, Anju, that on something, could you please explain about the risk analysis? Because,
Okay.
I think if we studied on risk analysis a little bit less than other things. So whether we can highlight something important that we.
Sorry, you're not clear, Akram. I can't hear you well.
Oh well, I was just telling about the risk analysis.
Yes.
Do you highlight some of the points of the risk analysis that we may study in, or we may practice, or we may just review? Because I think we did not cover on risk analysis in that much. So,
Risk. Okay.
Yeah.
1 second. Kashyap, just let me know, because you've said people, leadership skills, how to frame the question. So when we discuss these questions, did you get a gist of how to answer, or you're not still clear?
Another one thing is that when we start writing the answer and starting, how do we start and how do we finish? Just to say we have been doing something, but still confused whether we have been doing the right thing. So that's it. Just to get some idea.
Right. Okay. Right. So one of the things I think, I'm just going to close this for a while because otherwise I can't see. An important thing is when you're answering the question, first, I think we did this before where I forced you guys to think and tell me how many questions are there inside one question, right? We can do that now as well because we do have some time to say, right, how many questions are there in this, right? Because you need to answer the questions. And another thing people do is, an examiner has written several times, answer the question and not another question that's in your head. Okay, so people, there was another thing written there where you said, someone said they have answered properly, and it was somewhat quite similar to the answer in the model answers given, but still they have not passed the exam, which is unfortunate, right? So there's an element of luck when it comes to exams, unfortunately. So that has to play as well. But also, I think you need to ensure that you make it easy for the examiner to give you marks. Okay, you have to make it easy for him or her to give you marks. So how do you make it easy? You read the question and find out what are the questions that they're asking. Is it 3 questions, 2 questions? And then you put headings of those questions and then start tackling it, because it becomes easy for the examiner to give you marks, right? And another point is, if they're asking 2 points, 2 questions there, you don't spend 80% on one point and 20% on the other, even though you know a lot on one point number 1. Okay, because that way is a sure way of failing again, because you have emphasized quite a lot on one point but not elaborated on the other. Yeah, so I hope I gave you some clues as to how to pass the exam. Right, talking about the risks. Okay, these are the 4 key risks that can be there in any organization, right? Financial risks, operational risks, strategic risks, and hazard risks. Now, from an operational point of view, you need to look at in the operating process, right? What are the key risks that Dream Park will face, and how do we mitigate them, right? And we look at the TARA model and say, how does it stay in our TARA model, the severity as well as the frequency, right? If the severity is high and frequency is high, you abandon and avoid, right? So you need to look at what are your key risks and look at the severity plus the frequency. In all of these risks, right? If you look at a strategic risk, can you give me a strategic risk in our case? Somebody?
Unrest in Far East.
A new dream park coming up in the close locality, another competition. It will be
A competitor coming up?
Yeah.
Someone else?
We are not growing fast as against the competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are not opening many theme parks.
Yeah, yeah. So our growth strategy is a risk because we are not growing. That's what you're saying, right? Because that in itself is a problem. So if you look at that, what is the strategy we should adapt, right? What is the risk that we are facing, and how do we? Because to adjust to kind of manage that risk, we need to think, because there's a lot of investment that will go in, a lot of different thinking that has to go in. I mean, we have not changed the way we're doing things from 1962 to now, right? We're doing the same kind of copy paste everywhere. So we need to have some radical change in thought. To have that, we have to start from the top, as well as investment. Correct? All those do play a part. Strategic risks, to manage it is actually quite a difficult task, because you have to start from the top, right? If you look at operational risks, we can apply this TARA model quite nicely, right? Can you give me an operational risk in Dream Park?
Safety hazard, any of the there is a safety element in it where it's severe and the frequency is higher. There is severe operation risk, and you have to close that ride. Suppose some accident has come and the severity is too much, and although it has been rectified, but it is happening within a short period of time. The severity and frequency is high. So as per the model, it needs to be closed up. It's a high operation risk.
Yeah, so basically you're identifying what are your operational risks, which can be, the rides, then it can lead to suppliers, right? Not providing you stuff on time, it can relate to food items, right? So there are many operational risks, but it's a case of prioritizing them and seeing what measures are there for us to manage these operational risks, right? What about our financial risks? Any ideas?
Financial risk is mainly the profitability. The profit is not good. I mean, if the loan is there, it should not be payback the thing. And then the cost of capital. If the economic situation is not good, the inflation factor is there. The cost of capital is very high. The loan interest element will be very high, and it will have a direct effect on your profitability and the stakeholders, and your
Right.
obviously the share price. And
Mm-hmm.
similarly, there is a market. I mean, there is no, I mean, credit risk because it's all in cash. It may be the only in the thing is that it will only be in the interest. I mean, in the what should I say, in the cost of capital and main the profitability element, which will have a bigger effect, and also the economic situation of the country, because it's a leisure industry. People will only
Mm-hmm.
come when there is a substantial money. I mean,
The disposable income.
yes, correct. Disposable money is in their hand, so they will come
Mm-hmm.
regularly. Is there? It's not a necessity. It's not a necessity
Yes.
product that they will come regularly. So if the
Mm-hmm.
economic situation in the whole country is not good or in that area, automatically it will have an effect. Have an effect,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah. So, I mean, not only your economic situation, but in the country, but also the country itself, it has to be a place of interest for people to come and visit, right? So it's somewhat like Dubai. People come to Dubai not only for, it will not only be for the theme park, but also for the other things that's on offer, similar to that of if you're going to Japan or if you're going to France, if you're going to US, right? It'll be the destination plus the activity, right? So the financial risks, basically, I mean, what do you think about our company here? Do we have high financial risk, low financial risks? What do you think?
Well, it is nothing is mentioned about the competition in this tent. How many, I mean, such type of parks are there in the same? I mean, in the hinterland and others, they have not mentioned. If it's not there,
But we
then the
have
risk
our
element.
financials, right?
The financials here is showing, if you see the financials and others, it shows an upward movement in the operating profits and others. Not so as the happy world, because but they are doing it because they have got more dream parks. But at least there's a cash element is there. You can use the cash. The profitability, the operating ratio is on the higher side. Only it's a levered company. The loan elements is higher, but you say that in a levered company, if there is a profit, it's a good leverage. So the risks are not that much, should we say? I mean that, and they are
Right.
generating a lot of
Gearing is
cash.
high.
There are a lot of cash also they are generating. I mean, so because it's a cash industry, I mean there is no credit. People have to purchase the tickets and go inside. So only when there is any like here the money is in shortage, slight shortage, because they want to open another dream park. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
there would have not have been any financial risk in this financial risk, in the sense that, I mean, continuing the operation is not a, it's not a risk, because there
There
is
is
no
no
cash.
problem for ongoing concern because there is retained earning is there 1.2 around million is there 1.128. So they have enough funds available. Even they have taken loan 1.7 around, but the retained earning is there 1.2. So according to this 2015 account, so there is no concern for ongoing, and they have assets also around 3.256 million
Yeah.
pounds.
Right.
Only.
I want to get Tarun's view on this, on financial risk. What do you think, Tarun?
Yeah, I back to kind of disagree in a way, because I think the level of debt is quite high, and considering we are
Mm-hmm.
in a seasonal business, as in seasonal, as in the weather plays an important role, right? So if the
Mm-hmm.
weather was, for example, continuously bad, it would affect the revenues, right? And hence the repayment of debt and basically servicing the debt and repayments. So so there is I think medium to high risk debt especially.
Right, right. So I also feel the risk is that debt is quite high, right? And I also feel that
But,
yeah,
the
go
debt
on.
is high, but to pay back the debt, there is sufficient funds is there. The thing is that it depends on, and in this type of industry, it doesn't happen suddenly that it will come to a very low thing. There is a gradual process of the economy. It doesn't happen suddenly that the economy goes very wrong, that people will not start visiting, their economic situation goes bad. But the thing is that since the retained earnings is quite high, I mean, it's very, and their cash supply is also very high, and being there is no credit risk because of the cash industry, it will not have a problem. And since the profitability is on the higher side, that means they're using the leverage to a higher effect. That means if you pump in more money, there will be more profit. It's saying is that, but here in that sense, the current financial is not too much. Uh, as per my opinion, is that it's there. Debt can be more high, but debt depends on. I mean, the debt depends on how much, because debt can be used in a positive sense also. If your leverage is on the right side, and if you got operating margin on the higher side, that means debt is being used in a proper sense. And if your EBITDA, I mean, earning before interest, depreciation, and tax is also quite high, that is called EBITDA. EBITDA is quite high. It's good because depreciation is a non-cash factor, and with the cash element in it. So the current financial situation is not bad. Only in future, if there is something happen in the economy, people are not coming, and the others, your revenue goes down, then it will have effect. But it's a percolating effect in the long term. I mean, it doesn't
So
happen very suddenly.
basically, yeah. So basically, you're playing the role of a management accountant who is not looking only at the past, but actually you are the person who needs to be thinking of the future. So what you do now will have an impact in 5 years' time, right? So I think what you're mentioning is that currently, immediately, you may not have an issue, right? But going forward, you need to look at it because if you have high debt, and where have you invested your debt, invested, right? And is it giving you returns? If you're having issues, for example, in your Far East or Middle East, right? That area, if you're having issues and it's not generating the return that you're expecting it to generate, well, it's a bit of a problem right now. Some of the European parks may be supporting you, but then again, you need to think, how is it going to work out in the next 2 years, right? Economic conditions may change, right?
Yeah. I,
Side,
I just
anything?
want to share. I just
Yeah.
want to share another one thing. Their debt equity ratio is not that good, and another one thing, at the same time they have been expanding in Far East, and also they have been doing. They're still in the product life cycle. If you see it, they're not in the growth stage in Middle East, and
Yes.
when they will start Far East, they will be in the beginning stage. So in that case, they need actually huge fund to run the show. So if we consider all these, then I think their fund position is not that good, that great. So they actually need something, some more.
If you look at the retained earning, you see that still they are holding a retained earning, and they have a loan. What they want to do is that, because
Yeah.
this is a public limited company, they want to show they will be declaring dividend on the share to attract new IPOs. What I think so is that one, because you see
No,
there
there
is
is an
retained earning.
opportunity. I agree. I agree that
Yeah,
there
this
is an opportunity to raise the fund. But
yeah
why should I spend with the retained earnings? Look at the retained
why
earnings,
yeah,
because
because they are holding
if
the
I
retained
start
earning.
spending from if I start spending from retained earnings, then the problem will be if I need financing from the banks, then that will affect. So instead of looking into retained earnings, if we can raise the fund differently, that will be much better by raising uh,
See over there, I think this company Dream Park, they intend to go for IPO and more public offering because they see the retained earning. They're holding 1228 and they are taking the loan 17. They are doing their projects on loan basis. They are not putting the equity capital because what they plan to do is that one they want to show the public and they want to pay dividend on the shares. This is my interpretation, and I think this is a strategy, and their strategy is this. So it comes out in next 2 3 years. If things are going smooth, they will be in a position to all settle the all loans.
So that's a very positive sign of saying, well, if everything goes smoothly, right? If it doesn't, that's the problem that we will face. Correct? It's a case of how are we going to manage if things don't do well, right?
Yeah, because
Let's
all
go
the bank
into the
will walk.
last. Yeah, let's go into the last one, hazard risk. Of course, we have plenty of hazards here that's waiting to happen, right? Because we are in that type of industry. And we certainly have to take a lot of precautions to manage this, right? So I think we have dealt quite a bit in this risk. Now, the person who asked me question on the risks, I hope you're clear. Is it clear now?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we have really gone to town with risks. I want to ask you a question on 1 second. Let me close this for a second. On GRI, okay. So one thing is GRI and balance scorecard. Do you think there are similarities between these two? And what are the objectives of each one of them? You can keep, I would give you 5 minutes to think about it and write it down if you don't mind. Is there similarities between these two? And what are the objectives of each one of them? Right, I'll give you 5 minutes. I'll pause it for 5 minutes because I want you to think about it a little bit. So let's start. What have you guys written? Arun, anything from you?
No, I was just looking what GRI was.
Wow, okay. And did you find it?
I just went to that site. I was just having a look at it.
Okay, we'll cut that very fast. And anybody else who knows what GRI is?
Is that global report initiative, right? Is this
Yeah.
the disclosures that we may need to add in the reporting that would attract our customers to know about the company and our activities that we have been doing in addition to our regular work? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's it.
And balance scorecard is basically we look into four types of analysis: financial perspective, internal perspective, innovation and learning, and customer perspective. So
Right.
both are slightly different, actually, what I believe, because GRI is a sort of disclosure that we have been giving, what we have been doing out of the box from the company. But from balance scorecard, actually, not only this analysis, but also they are analyzing the say for financial perspective. We look into what is the profit, return on investment, cash flow, gearing, those things. Internal perspective, we look into the how to improve the park service. So internally, we analyze that whether waiting time per ride, wastage recycle rate, or revenue per square meter or per employees. Those kind of analysis that we do for our own improvement.
Right.
And innovations and learnings that we have been doing, so whether we have invested something for the innovative new innovation or some, and or for new learning, and
Yes.
customer perspective that we have been doing, that how many customers customers footfall, and also their complaints and waiting time per ride. So if we use that big data, we could get all those information very promptly, very on time basis. So these are the things actually we analyze how to improve how to improve our business, something like
Right.
that. So that's
Okay. Right. Good. I want someone else to talk about GRI, please. Anyone else? Tarun?
Yeah, so GRI, I think is all about sustainability reporting, right? So in terms of disclosure, what we are doing and what our targets are, and then how we gonna achieve those. So it's all about non-financial side of the business in terms of what we are doing to help the community, help the environment, and the economy as well.
There are 3 P's of GRI. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
3 P's of GRI. People, what else? Okay, so these are the things that they need to report on, right? People, planet, and profit. GRI is actually quite important nowadays because it tells the story to the stakeholders, the story of the company, how they are generating the profits, as well as how good a corporate citizen they are. Right now, let us see Disney's GRI reporting. Have I uploaded it? I think I did. 1 second.
Sorry, just to ask you, is this some sort of a new organization that you're measured, a company is measured against? If you are having a GRI, what is that?
So GRI is basically the companies are, it's the company, it's not a must you need to report these things, right? But what companies do is they do report on these factors because it gives them good credibility in the market, right? Because of that, the company looks good, and as a result, gives good publicity, as well as it gives the share price goes up. Okay, so 1 second here. I just want to show this to you. I downloaded it just now, actually. Yeah, it would be in your Dropbox. One second, because I have uploaded this. Right, there is a folder called GRI, and I did upload it, and it's called GRI Index. Let me show this to you. This is a great report, gives you a good insight. Right, it's Disney's Global Reporting Initiative. It's about the organization's economic environment and social performance, right? So it also looks at what it says is people, planet, and profitability, same context, right? And you could see they have done the disclosures on strategic analysis, organization profile, reporting parameters, right? Then also the assurance, governance, commitment, and engagement, right? And you can see what they have done is they said the status. Are they reporting it fully, or are they partially reporting or not reported at all? And when you go to this report, if you press here, it will take you to that area, because they have a separate area for corporate governance, right? And it will talk about this, right? And they have also given which page they talk about this whole thing, that is process to avoid conflicts of interest at the board level, right? And here again, I want to see how if there's anything where they're partially reporting. Here you go, financial implications due to climate change. They're partially reporting that, right? So there is some improvement required in this space, okay? And here you go, market presence. They're not reporting at all, right? Locally based suppliers, local hiring. So this is areas for improvement for them, right? So in this case, about financial assistance from government, significant funding and other support received from non-government sources, partial reporting, right? Materials used, partial reporting, and how to manage them. Energy utilized, again, partial. Water. Okay, so it is, as now I've given you like a 2-second view of this, right, of Disney's reporting. What can you get out of this? On what they have reported, what can you give me?
A very good impression on the company.
Yes.
Various activities are being measured basically. If you see,
Right.
it's like going into 8, 9, like how,
Mm-hmm.
and each has a further area like child labor and all those things. So various
Yes.
parameters. So it shows a diverse picture of the company, of how it is on various fields, what it is doing, rather than
Right.
the balance scorecard is just yeah.
Now, if you looked at, let's look at the traditional way of how you will evaluate a company, right? What's the traditional way? You will look at the balance sheet. You will look at the profit and loss, cash flow. Correct?
Yeah,
Now, if I look at the GRI, it's multidimensional, isn't it?
that's right.
Suddenly,
That's right.
right? I'm seeing layers and layers of this company that I never ever knew existed, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly, I have got, oh wow, this is what they do with society. They have invested, they are doing a lot of investment with the society, with the community. I never knew about it.
Yeah.
Right? But at the same time, I could also see there's a lot of improvement that they have to do when it comes to, this environmental area, product
Sorry, just to
responsibility.
interrupt in is this all predefined, or is it that respective company can put forward these?
This is the
Or
respective
every
company has put forward these, they have defined measurements and the KPIs. They have done it.
okay. No, okay. Maybe then you need not show some. You can only show some. It could end up. I thought there was some prerequisite from the GRA Institute that these have to come in. No, it's not there.
They will give you a high level kind of guidance. This is what you have to
Okay.
do. But then for each industry or company, it will differ. Now you can see training education,
Yeah.
right? If you talk about employees, training education, right?
Yeah.
How do you do it? Now, in this case, they're focusing on training per employee per gender.
Per gender. Yeah.
Okay, this is very important because these statistics can give you a lot of insight. So does it mean you are only one particular gender that you're focusing on, and you're investing your money on that gender? You see, because a lot of it's biased. The information will come out from here,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Now here again, regular performance career development reviews by gender. They're looking at it by gender. Another thing that you can focus. I mean, as soon as you read this, you can see this is a company that puts focus on gender diversity and building up.
But sorry to interrupt. If you see there is in the side they put partially reported, then aren't they a bit misleading then? Okay, you're saying something, but you're reporting only part of just.
Correct. The thing is, they have at least started.
Okay, okay, perfect.
Right? That's
Got it.
how I'm looking. I'm
We'll look
saying,
at
well, they've at least started. So by next year, I must see an improvement here that they will report fully. Right?
Yeah.
At least they have a measurement. Okay, if I look at another company, they might not have anything here.
Perfect. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Great. That's something new.
So, I
And
mean,
it's
this is
been audited, is
fantastic
it?
report.
Yeah. It's been audited or
Because
something like that?
so they would have different bodies to come and independently check it, but
So just
also this is linked to definite reports. Now you can see it's linked to different reports, and those reports are audited.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Right. I thought this was a fantastic document, what is produced and what type of information we can get from this GRI.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So I hope everybody knows what GRI is now. If I ask the question, you won't say, right, I'm going to check the internet. Right. I mean, this gives you a good overview, right? Then another question I had was, one second. So do look at this this particular report. It's an easy one to read as well. Another student has told me that he found the disaster recovery to be the document on disaster recovery very good, right? So have a look at that as well. The Disney crisis plan. Did you guys have a look at this? So they give a potential crisis, who are in the management team, right? Key public stakeholders, prevention, preparation, right? Media audit. So you can, this is a very, very good article and a very good, it'll give you a good idea on how to manage an issue, a crisis happens, right? And this is from Disney. So it's not theory at all, but it is a practical document. Yeah. So do go through this. Another student has commented and said this is a great document. He finds it very useful. Any other questions? Let me see whether I have given you. Yeah. So the impact of GRI on stakeholders, the reason, I mean, there was a question, right, on GRI last session. Okay. And we also state in our case study that we follow GRI, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So why would we do it? Because by actually communicating all the good stuff that we do, right, to our stakeholders, we are in a very good position to do what? Couple of things that we can do. Why would we want to report all these things to our stakeholders? What is the reason? Any views?
These are non-financial factors which should be looked upon by the organization, that they are giving a detailed report, which is not there in the printed accounts. Basically, it's not mentioned there. They are only as per the audit standards and others. So these are information which you get in this GRI only, which is which shows the non-financial factors of the organization, its CSR responsibilities, and in details and others. All these.
Okay. Any other views? Any other views?
It shows how, as a company, yes, it shows how, as a company, we are not only profit-centered, but how we are helping every facets in the organization as well as this, the world, or and yeah, that's one of the P's come in as to the planet. Okay.
By doing that, what do you get?
See,
respect from the.
This is a listed company, right? So most of the listed company, or almost all the listed companies, it's a kind of requirement, right? Because otherwise you can't attract shareholders and also the customers, because customers are very like environment focused nowadays. They want to see what's your carbon footprint, how good your the practices are, code of conduct, ethics. So everybody is interested in hearing that and seeing that, especially the institutional investors, pension funds and all the stuff. So it helps in raising your reputation and bringing in trust, right?
Yeah, yeah, very good,
And
very good answer.
yes, this apart from there, when you are issuing a GRI report, and this there are some loans from United Nations, and there are special loans coming towards the organization who are fulfilling these GRIs, and they are
Mm-hmm.
doing their special industrial loans. They will give on subsidized rates to this
Mm-hmm.
organization which are fulfilling. They are creating this a Swedish and Nigerian organization which are monitoring these GRI reports. What they intend to
Right.
do is in Europe, they will be offering the companies which are fully doing this GRI reportings and following the
Mm-hmm.
regulations. There will be some kind of advantages to them from the organization and from the governmental level, getting the industrial loans and other things like that.
Yeah, perfect. I think you guys have got it really because, like Tarun rightly mentioned, we are a company that's in the stock exchange, right? We're a listed company. So basically, our focus is to increase profitability, increase share price, become a favorite company that investors want to invest in. Yeah, and also like we've got institutional investors as well who will have clear idea, on what they want to invest in and in long term. So like the traditional the traditional methods of just providing the profitability, this financial statements is not good enough anymore. This will give you multiple layers to a company to see, how good they are, what as a corporate citizen, what are they doing, the three P's: people, the profitability, right, and the planet, how are they contributing, as well as our people. That's an important thing. We want to attract really good people in our organization because people are a key driver to create that differentiation in the company. So we have a lot of, people, they make choices which company that they would like to join, right? So, it's a well-known fact, people want to go join Google, right? A favorite company, people want to join Apple, right? Another the company people want to join. So we want to be a company where people are waiting to join us. So GRI will provide all that kind of good stuff that we do, which actually doesn't come in our financial statements, right? Financial statements are kind of the outcome of all what the good stuff that we are doing. Even the balance scorecard doesn't give this amount of kind of layers and layers of information, the insight the company can give its stakeholders. The balance scorecard does not give that, does not give justice, right? However, if you're trying to implement GRI and for it to be successful, it has to come from top down, right? We have to have good systems, measures, KPIs. All these things need to be there for it to be. If we have to capture the information and record it, and provide true, fair information. Like, what happened to Volkswagen, you don't want something similar happening to our company. So what we provide, what we publish should be truthful, right? Any other questions before we close?
Answer: writing style.
Writing style. Okay.
Yeah.
How do we write? Any views?
Yeah.
We type, we don't write.
We type, right?
True. That's true.
Yeah. So, Arju, well, thing is, when you're writing, like I said, the style, be very careful in what is the question asked, how many questions are asked in that. Highlight those. Then you look at, actually, if you want, even in a scrap paper, write down the 4 areas that you need to cover, like technical, people, business, all those 4 areas. Write it down so that you won't forget that you need to include these things in your answer, right? Answer plan is quite important. At least allow yourself 6-7 minutes just to jot down in your mind, these are the things, key points that you want to capture, right? So timing is of essence. Don't get stuck to one point and talk about it forever for 60 minutes, right? Because remember, you need to write quite a few points. So you need to put more points, you put better it is for you, right? So don't get stuck in one point. Another one is, suddenly you come across a question and you have no clue what this answer is going to be, right? You have absolutely no clue. Don't panic, because only you know that you don't know the answer, right? Examiner has no clue. Yeah. So read the question many a time and be creative and see how can I answer this, right? And you have to write something. Don't just start dreaming and not writing anything, because if you write something, you're giving the examiner the opportunity to give you marks. If you don't write anything, he or she cannot give you marks. So you have to write something. The good part is the examiner doesn't know that you don't know the answer to this. And examiner may interpret in a different way and say, wow, this is an amazing answer, right? The person has thought out of the box completely, and may give you marks. You have no clue about it, right? So again, this has happened to me several times where I have not known the answer but passed the exam. So luck also played a part there, I guess. Any other questions? So how have you found this session?
Great. That's very helpful.
Okay, that's good. But one of the great things is, even though you guys don't see each other, I see a lot of debates going on, which is really funny. Right? It's as if you're in a live class, in a face-to-face class, and that's interesting. And what I really love about this is because we got people from different parts of the world coming in together, and that brings in a lot of diversity and a lot of different thinking, which enriches the classroom experience, right? Which is fantastic. I love it, and I think all of us have gained by it, including myself. I want to tell you guys we're having a session on the 21st from 10 to 12 noon. That's UAE time, right? This session, we may have quite a lot of people in the session, so I'll not be able to have a conversation. It's not only me who is going to be there. We'll have a panel of people there. We will kind of go through the case study together with this panel. And you will get some insight. I'll have somebody from Dubai Parks and Resorts there as well. Someone else from, who's doing budgeting planning in Hyperion. So to get some questions from that side of it. I'll also get some people in the entertainment industry and service industry to come in and give their insight to it as well, and also some of the lecturers, right? So we'll see how can we squeeze all these guys in and within 2 hours, right? And get some insight from each one of them. All right. So if there's no questions, I will close for today, but that doesn't mean that you can't send me answers, and I will respond to them as quickly as possible. do send me your answers and I will respond and tell you where to correct them if required. Okay? Okay then, good night. I will see you on the 21st, 10 to 12 noon. Okay?
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Then.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.